Welcome back to the 14th day of Quick Strike videos in February. Today we're going to take a look at where to find historical volatility in Quick Strike. So we'll review where it's available from the what we call the public side, typically on the Quick Strike section, and then we'll talk about where you can dive into it more thoroughly in its own volatility section, and we'll discuss some of the data available there, as well as some of the limitations there as well. So first off, the thing to keep in mind is anytime that you see a symbol, right, we can click on that symbol and get some more information, whether it be the futures pop-up or the expiration pop-up. So let's just take a look at the expiration pop-up and see if there's any historical data there. And there is. We see some simple stuff here in terms of the 30-day at the money volatility history here, and then we also see some tabs up here. So we can click on the at the money vol history tab, and we have from 1 to 12 months. This may vary in the future in terms of what's available from the pop-ups, but for now it's 12 months. So let's take a look and see what we have. So in this case, we're able to see an at the money implied volatility versus an actual volatility of the underlying here. So the blue is the implied, the option implied, and the orange is the option implied, and the blue is the future implied volatility, or the actual volatility of the future. And then you see the spread of these two, and then the corresponding futures movement, so you can get an idea of maybe how the volatility reacts based on what's happening in the underlying. So you can get historical volatility just by opening up the expiration pop-up, and you're sort of limited here in just in terms of the at-the-money volatility, as well as one other type, which we'll show you here in a second. So remember, we can also click on strikes as well. So when I click on a strike, I'm going to see vol history and at-the-money vol history. So vol history stands for the vol history of that particular strike. So I can go here into the 3-month, and now I'm looking at the 1240 strike, the history of the 1240 strike, and it's going to tell you, hey, this was an at the money at this point, so we're seeing it's an at the money at this point based on where future is and the strike. It was a call or it was a put. So you're able to see how the volatility of this reacted based on where it was, whether it was out of the money call or out of the money put. And again, you're going to see the underlying actual volatility as well. So whatever strike you click on, you're going to see that strike's historical volatility when you go to the vol history tab in the strike pop-up. Okay, we saw the expiration pop-up before, that just had the at the money volatility. In this case, we clicked on the strike, it has the strike pop-up as well as the at the money volatility. So you're going to see the same chart that we saw here previously. Okay, so there's two spots where we can get history rather quickly, and that's from clicking on the symbol, the expiration symbol, or clicking on the strike for a particular expiration. Now you recall we get some historical data as well for the futures, but that's mostly just price data. We don't do anything in terms of actual volatilities here, at least not as a standalone item with the future. The other place you'll be able to see this is obviously anywhere you can click on an expiration or a strike throughout the application. As you've seen before, we've opened up the expiration pop-up and the strike pop-up many times. You'll also see a little synopsis of the history on the contract summary. Now, I'm not going to show you that here because, like I've mentioned in previous videos, we're in the process of rewriting that page. So I want to wait to demo it until we have the new format out there. And once we have the new format, then we can revisit it a little bit, and we'll do that as part of the demonstration of the page and the tabs that are soon to be available over there. Okay, so that's kind of the basic, simple ways to get at the history of volatility for the expirations. And you've seen we've demonstrated the vol tool section, right, where there's some historicals there where you can do some comparisons. But generally speaking, when people are looking for market implied history, they're looking at the money and the strike and that kind of thing. So that's what we showed you so far in the pop-ups. Now the other place you can go is the quick volatility section. We haven't really talked about this since day one in our videos when we did the overview, but in the quick volatility section, let's take a look and see what we have here. Now, here we go. So where you'll usually land is on the About Volatility page. I was playing around before the video, so we didn't land on the home. So when you come to the About Quick Volatility page, you're going to see 5 sections here of things that are available, but what you're going to notice is only one is available here. So on the Pro version, all we're allowing in terms of access is to active expirations. And we say active expirations, that just means anything that's still trading, right? Anything that has at least 1 day to expiration. So here's where you can see the historical data for that. This historical expiration, seasonal patterns, constant maturity, and volatility cones, those are part of the quick volatility add-on. And that gives you 5 years worth of historical data, or from like October or November of 2011. historical data for all of the active products that we have, and you can see a list of those on the site where we have and it's all this, anything that's got liquidity, anything that's got good open interest, that type of thing, that has historical data, and it's only for the CME Group products where these other four come into play. Okay, so what we're going to focus on today is this active expiration section. Okay, so let's click on active expirations and see what we have available. So you're going to notice three columns: the legacy at the money reports. We're not going to cover these at all because these are there. We essentially deprecated these, but people got used to seeing these pages, so we put them back up there for those that wanted to keep using them. So, but when we do demonstrations and talk about what's available, we use these 5 volatility charts and volatility skew columns. Okay, so let's start with the historical versus the implied volatility. Pretty straightforward here in terms of what we're seeing, right? So I'm selected. I'm on the April contract here, and what I'm seeing here is the at the money implied volatility in orange and the historical volatility of the underlying, the actual, in the blue. So you get a nice comparison of whether implied is running in line above or below what the actual underlying future is doing. And then down below, you're going to see the ratio. So you can start to see if things are above or below where they should be in terms of their comparison. And then we're showing you the futures price here, so you can kind of get a little bit of a gauge of how the underlying and the option it might be related based on in the movement of that particular contract. Okay, so as you've seen in other places, we have some buttons up here. Date range is going to allow us to pick from 1 month to 5 years, so 5 years being the maximum they have available right now, or you can pick your specific date range. The display is going to let you, in this case, right now we're tracking the at the money. If you wanted to pick a particular strike, you can pick from any of the strikes that are available here, okay? And it's going to be that strike's actual history, all right? So for the demonstration, we're going to stick to the at the money. And then you have 2 checkboxes, show historical range and show implied range. So let's do this one, show implied range. And this is going to give you a standard deviation bands around the implied. So here's going to be your statistics for that. So there's some different ways to look at how you get a high and a low, and then you're getting the regular standard deviation. So what you're really seeing here in the April, and you're also seeing it in the March when I was looking at it before, and I think in general right now in the metals or the gold in particular, you had a really long period of time in a range where there wasn't much going on, and now you're really outside the band. So the question here is this the new normal, or is this an aberration in what's going on in the market in terms of implied volatility and actual volatility for that matter? So those are some of the ways you can control what's showing up on the chart here. And finally, we allow you to export this data. That's right. You can export the data to a CSV and use it however you like. So you can put it in your own report. You can keep track of it yourself, but we do give it to you there, and you're more than welcome to that information. Okay. Next, we're going to look at the compare expirations. Again, this is for the active expirations that are currently trading in the market. So we click on the expirations button, right? Because we have text with the icons next to them, so we know that we can click on those and see what's going on. So in this case, we could look at multiple contracts. So if I click 2 contracts, it's going to plot both of them and their implied volatilities, and then show their spread down below. Okay, and you're going to see the legends is going to show accordingly, and then you're going to have the spread down below in this area chart. If you click more than 2, it's just going to plot the expirations, but you're not going to see any comparisons because there's really no good way to guess which ones that people would want to see from a spread standpoint. So if you want to see a different spread, just uncheck and check these back on. Okay, and you'll see in this expirations drop down, we let you know where you have expiration selected with that little asterisk. There's the 2017, 2018, and the weeklies. Okay, so we can go over here and check these guys, see what we look like here. It's probably gonna have a lot less data because so there's only one that's actually trading with any open interest. Okay, so that is our compare expirations. And again, let's just check on 2. And again, like we discussed in the previous screen for the historical versus implied, the date range is going to give you the same thing. It's going to let you give you the ability to look at what we have here. And this section is sort of misguided in that, in all likelihood, Well, there could be contracts that have been trading for 5 years, so there's a chance that you see active expirations that have 5 years worth of history, but in all likelihood, a lot of them aren't going to show too much from really early dates. Although you might see some in the crude, maybe in the metals as well. But in any case, you can choose which term you want to take a look at here. Okay, so what we've covered here is the historical versus implied volatility and the compare expirations. We're going to spend another video looking at this vol skew section because we're at a pretty good length here so far. So we want to give you a chance to digest this information, and then maybe prior to the next video that you see about quick volatility, you'll have a chance to take a look at the volatility curves, risk reversal butterfly, and the compare risk reversal and butterfly skew. So um, thanks again for watching the videos. We appreciate you taking the time to learn more about Quick Strike. If you have any questions in the meantime, remember you can contact us over at support with any questions, concerns, or suggestions that you might have. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.